Well, a little bit of a deja vu moment as we finally have this anticipated matchup between the St. Clair Saints and the Humber Hawks. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hawks Nest. Zach Benoit alongside Matt Hamill. And Matt, we had this one penciled in on the calendar back in the big snowstorm that happened here in the GTA. It got canceled, unfortunately. But we're here now, end of the season, two titans of a team, and it's going to be a fun one tonight.
All it took was the single heaviest snowfall day in recorded history for Toronto to postpone that game, so I guess it was appropriate. Here we are now, and there's how things are shaken out. Humber only have lost 2 games this season, Zach. That most recent loss was to St. Clair in that first half of the regular season before the Christmas break. And so you got to think for Humber, now on home turf, a chance to kind of avenge that loss and certainly propel their record to continue to look pretty stellar as we head into the postseason.
Yeah, you mentioned it. They've gone on a 7-game win streak dating all the way back to that loss against St. Clair. They also had a huge win just about a week or so ago against the Mohawk Mountaineers. They went up to the Hammer and they took care of business. They sit 1 game back at Mohawk in that West Division. Here you see the comparisons between these two squads. It's pretty similar, to say the least. Humber's offense just a little bit more effective.
Yeah, and then of course the kind of get it done factor. You look at, statistically close, but in terms of the record, we mentioned the 12-2 for Humber. For St. Clair, 8-5, and for them, they're coming into this one off a loss to Fanshawe. That was about just shy of a 20-point loss there. So kind of a tale of 2 different energies coming into this one. Humber off not only a convincing win against Redeemer just earlier this week, but before that, like you said, they beat a team that has been ranked number 1 in the nation for much of the season, the Mohawk Mountaineers. So you got to think for Humber, feeling good right now as we get into this important phase of the season, and always counting on players like Sarah Bapty to get the job done.
Well, Sarah Bapty, again, one of the seniors on the squad, is playing in her final game here at the Hawks Nest. And I was able to have a conversation with Sarah earlier today, and I asked her, I said, what's the mindset for you? What's the mindset of the team? And I said, what's the mindset of the seniors, coming into this final game? And, well, Sarah said to me, she said, the seniors are saying the job's not done. It's not done just yet. And, she was able to reflect all over her career as a Humber Hawk, and she said to me, I can't believe it's been 5 years already. The time has just absolutely flown by. And, yeah, it should be a good one. I mean, Bapty has been tremendous throughout her Humber Hawks career, maybe the best 2-way player we've seen in the OCAA. And it'll definitely be interesting to see what she's able to pull out of the bag here in her final game at the Hawks Nest.
Yeah, and one thing that's been her calling card this year is the steals. She leads the OCAA with 56 of those. We'll see if she continues to show off that part of her game, which can really help propel Hawks to some quick points. And on the other side for the St. Clair Saints, Zach, they have some players they've been counting on throughout the season. Maya Tate is their leading scorer, averaging 13 points per game. A couple other players averaging double digits in Kaylin Batten and Ava Proskos, but ultimately this young lady does shoulder a lot of the role offensively.
Well, you look at that 3-point percentage sitting around 30%. Well, she's also made the 3rd most threes in the league. She's 29 of 102, and that percentage has her sitting in 3rd. Again, like you said, a player that's going to be shouldering a lot of the responsibilities here in this game. Look out for number 23. But this St. Clair team, they're very sneaky, and they've shown that throughout the year. Definitely going to be a challenge here for the Humber Hawks. Again, they're trying to push for first place. They're trying to get that number 1 seed in the West. Granted, it all comes down to what happens with Mohawk and their remaining schedule, but for the most part, we just have to kind of play the waiting game here. And Humber, all they can do is try to control what they can control.
And Zach, this team, head coached by Andy Kiss, you mentioned some of the 3-point shooting stats of Maya Tate. Well, as a team, St. Clair attempts the most threes per game. They also have the most made per game, and their percentage is 2nd in the OCAA. Look for the deep ball threat to be a factor in this one against Humber.
Well, we've teed it up for you, so now let's throw it aside to our PA announcer, Dwayne Bowles, for the player introductions and the national anthem.
For this matchup between the St. Clair Saints and your Humber Hawks. At this time, we'd ask you to please stand if you're able for the playing of our national anthem. It's now time for the starting lineups. First for the visiting St. Clair Saints. A 5'8" forward out of Windsor, Ontario, a number 3, Anifa Terry. A 5'4" guard out of Hamilton, Ontario, number 6, Beatrice Clausen. A 5'8" guard out of LaSalle, Ontario, number 12, Kaylin Button. A 5'11" forward out of Windsor, Ontario, number 15, Fiona Lucasen. And a 5'5" guard out of Windsor, Ontario, number 23, Maya Tate. The head coach for the St. Clair Saints is Andy Kiss. And now, the starting lineup for your Humber Hawks, as put together by head coach CJ Nofuente. A 5'11" small forward out of Scarborough, Ontario, number 6, Beverly O'Meara. A 6-foot forward out of Venice, Italy, number 7, Erin Destiny. A 5'10" guard out of Toronto, Ontario, number 10, Persia Martin Brown. A 5'7" guard out of Mississauga, Ontario, number 15, Sarah Betty. And a 5'9" shooting guard out of Brampton, Ontario, number 22, Marley Bonnet.
And there you have it, starting lineups announced. Final regular season home game of the year for these basketball programs. Humber Hawks, St. Clair Saints, and as mentioned in the pregame, Sarah Bapty, one of the fifth-year seniors playing in her final game here at the Hawks Nest. The other is none other than Marley Bonnick. And off and away we go. Bapty quick with the ball here.
Yeah, Beverly O'Meara as well was recognized on the seniors night ceremony on Wednesday, Zach. I guess it was scheduled then on account of the kind of scheduling shakeup with this delayed one, but early bucket for Humber, partner.
And you saw the ball movement early on right there, working quickly down the middle. And it's a quick bucket there for Fiona, who just completely strides through the lane. Looks amazing doing it. Working quickly are these two teams. Again, Humber and St. Clair. It's a rivalry as old as time, we like to say. These two have had storied games, and look at that, Remwant Destiny to the net.
Yeah, how about that? 2 for 2 for Humber on their first offensive opportunities of the game. We saw St. Clair answer pretty decisively last time down the court.
St. Clair swinging it outside, pulling up for 3, not gonna fall. Rebounded there by Beverly O'Meara.
The early three-point attempt, and we expect to see more of those from St. Clair. Again, they lead the OCAA in three-point attempts per game.
And again through the paint. Remwant Destiny making an impact early on here.
Hey, while St. Clair may average 30 three-point attempts per game, there's Humber going right back to the well with the high percentage shot down in the paint.
Battling down low. It's going to go off of Beverly O'Meara. And yeah, like you mentioned, they're a team that isn't afraid to shoot the ball. Doesn't matter what point of the game it is. Doesn't matter what the score is. St. Clair, well, they're lethal as ever from beyond the arch. Here's Maya Tate trying to drive it inside. The pass a little bit too hard. It's going to be picked up there by Beverly, and now Bapti will take it across the timeline. Sarah Bapti ahead of steam. Step back, and she gets it swatted right out of her hand.
It's a big stop for St. Clair. I mean, Humber so far was successful every trip down the court, but not that time.
That was Beatrice Clausen that was able to get a hand to that, and there's Maya Tate going right to the rim. A little bit of a half-court press, I guess you can say, early on there from St. Clair. Good ball movement around here for the Hawks. Martin Brown puts it up, and Persia Martin Brown finds 2.
Yeah, just another exhibition there of Humber getting the ball down low and looking confident with another make. 8-4 here. A couple different Hawks getting involved in the scoring.
Clausen playing that give and go there with Terry. Now it's going to be Tate trying to find a lane. Martin Brown guarding her. Clausen kicks back out to Tate for 3 and cash it. Maya Tate opens the score big time there for St. Clair.
Yeah, find themselves in a bit of an early deficit. One way to make that up, some three-point plays and a quick turnover by the Hawks kind of helps some momentum build for the visiting team here.
Early substitution here for Humber. Looks like Karina Winter-Josephs will check in. Working it around again, Tate. Cutting inside, Tate. Ooh, almost got the N1, hit off the rim. She'll go to the line to shoot 2. Looks like the foul is gonna be on number 10, Persia Martin Brown.
Well, either way, even though that was close to being the make, just a great job by St. Clair, landing some counter punches after an early part of the game that saw Humber looking pretty hot offensively. St. Clair getting their footing here. Chance to take the lead here.
Marley Bonnick was talking about that loss to St. Clair, and she said, we just didn't play defense. We didn't play our game. And she felt that it was a game that they could have won and they should have won. Just, came out a little bit slow defensively. Humber trying to change that up here. Destiny, mid-range J, not gonna fall.
Well, last time they met, Zach, Humber took the loss there. It was a close one, 79-77. Wouldn't be surprised if we have another great game and a tight finish, just based on how these teams seem to compete whenever they're taking on one another. Got some fresh legs coming in for the Saints into the game. Lily Collins and Ava Proskos.
When you mentioned Proskos' name in the pregame, one of those players that isn't afraid to shoot from beyond the arc. She also is averaging double digits as well. She was a transfer player from George Brown, and she's filled in very nice here with St. Clair. Martin Brown down on the baseline. Trying to find her opening. Karina Winter-Joseph pulls up, it's not gonna go. Fighting for the rebound and coming away with it is St. Clair. They're gonna work it up the court quick. There's Proskos trying to go to the lane, not gonna fall. Bapti gets the rebound. Down low, Cnat kicks it out wide to Joseph. Good ball movement here by the Hawks, but the defense is sound and solid for St. Clair. Spinning down low. And Guillermo gets fouled, I believe. Yes, she does. She'll go to the line here to shoot 2. That's Maya Tate's first of the game. First team foul of the game fully for St. Clair.
Humber has been kind of jammed up at 8 points for a hot minute now. Chance to move past that. As we know from the halftime shoot for cash contest, Zach, sometimes the free throws aren't as easy as they look. I can attest to that.
Yeah, man, they're not easy. A lot of pressure. But Cnat, perfect right there.
Easy. Yes, sir.
Says, what is pressure? It's what they put in tires. Taking it down the other way. Maya Tate looking for her opening. Can't see it. Good handoff here now to Proskos. She thought about pulling up for three, but it's a good ball movement. Can they keep it in?
Wow.
Yes, they can. Proskos in the corner, and it's not going to go. Somehow keeping that play alive was Lucasen.
Yeah, what a excellent effort there to keep it alive. Unfortunately, they don't come away with the points.
Fighting for it. Still a loose ball, and it's going to be called a kick ball on the Hawks, so we turned over for the Saints. A little bit of everything happening on that play.
Well, after the offense was flowing early on, it's been a little more of a grinding it out here as we get into the middle of this quarter. The score hasn't changed much, 9-8 in favor of the Hawks.
Down to the corner, Lucasen trying to find Tate, but it's good defense. It goes off the hand of Winter Josephs.
Yeah, type of play we've been seeing a lot from Karina Winter-Josephs. A lot of effort, helping to bust that up. So 7 seconds on the shot clock here, Zach. Not an eternity for St. Clair to work with.
Tate, down low, Lucasen from the free throw line's not gonna go. Bapti will come up with the rebound. Bapti with a head of steam. Free throw line jumper, and it's smooth like butter. Humber regained that lead. Working it around, Proskos guarded closely there by Saleha Joseph. Proskos spinning off the rim, not gonna fall. She wanted a call going up there, but the ref said play on.
It's a sweet move, and it looks like some of the St. Clair Saints on the bench wanting the foul call there too. Won't get it with 4 minutes left in the first. Humber with the 3-point lead.
Destiny into the corner, Joseph for three, not gonna go. And the rebound gets eventually picked up by Lily Collins, but Sinat Guillermo was in the area, and I believe the foul goes on Collins as well, so fortunate events right there for the side of the Hawks. They'll take it.
Mentioned some of the scoring leaders for the Saints, including Maya Tate, averaging 13 points a game. For Humber, yeah, it's Sarah Bapti, 15 points per game on average. Only one other Hawk averaging double digits per game this season. That's Marley Bonnick. Puts up an even 10.
Another foul on the ground. It's time. It's going to be on Ava Proskos. So quickly, it was a very clean game for basically the entire start of the first quarter, and 3 quick fouls late here for the Saints. Bonnick checks back in, gives it off to Martin, pulling up for threes, not gonna go. Destiny soaring through the air, gets the board.
Great work, and that's just, again, what Humber's been finding success on throughout this first quarter. It's going to work down low. That said, recently checking into the game for St. Clair, Zach, is Jaden LaRock. So a bit of height that Coach Andy Kiss has factored into the equation, maybe hoping to counteract some of the kind of domination Humber's shown early on in these offensive efforts down low. 13-8, Zach. Game 1 of 2. We got the fellas taking the court after this one, Zach.
Active hands there by Saleha Joseph, and she's gonna try to take it to the lane. Can't find it. The defense completely stopped it. Makes her defender drop, pulling up for three, and it's not gonna go.
A little shake and bake there, creating some open space, but Humber, yeah, not able to convert that go around.
Went for the shimmy and the shake, couldn't get the bucket to drop, and this pass inside, not gonna fall. That was Beatrice Clausen again.
Zach, game 2 of our doubleheader is scheduled to start, much like this one, an hour earlier than usual. So we had a 5 o'clock tip time for this ladies game. The fellas is no matchup to sneeze at. You have the number 5 ranked team in the whole country, the St. Clair Saints, taking on the Humber Hawks men's team, who are number 6 ranked nationally. So anytime you have 2 teams that are that high caliber, you know you're in for a good watch, and we hope you stay with us here on the Hawk Sports Network for that one.
Well, partner, this could also have implications for the West Division standings because Humber's sitting at 13-2. Guess who's behind them at 12-2? The St. Clair Saints, who, again, have been red hot, winners of their last 10. I mean, it has been ridiculous stuff out of the boys up there in Windsor. But should be treated in for a tremendous game. They're at 7 o'clock. And
yeah, we're getting spoiled tonight, partner. As excited as we are for this ladies' game, we do have that great matchup on the horizon as well here on this Friday that was meant to be dark here in the Hawks Nest, but of course the game being rescheduled after, I repeat, the single snowiest day on record for Toronto.
Yeah, if there's one thing that can stop an OCAA basketball game, it's a record-setting snowfall in the GTA. It started snowing this morning, and I got an extreme cold front warning, and I got scared again. I was having flashbacks.
Yeah, will this game ever happen? Well, we're here, partner. We're safe. Oh, goodness, look at that battle down low between Bonnick and Larocque.
And that was the two vets there in Bapty and Bonnick working their magic. It was a nice move. Bapty drawing the defense and then Bonnick going up. Cash at the line for the first shot is Marley Bonnick.
The Saints are making an appeal here that the wrong player was credited with the foul. And it looks like that is adjusted. But maybe Collins picked it up.
Chelsea Krepp was the recipient of that foul. Trying to play it around here. St. Clair thought about pulling up, not going to go. They try to dump it down low, but Destiny, good defense, and now it's tightrope act out of Martin. Bullet pass by Bapty, and she can't connect.
And it's going to be St. Clair ball, much to the dismay of some Humber fans who didn't like the way that one was judged. But Zach, it was a good effort, a quick play. You mentioned the tightrope act by Martin just to kind of get loose. But the pass through traffic broken up, and St. Clair a chance to even get things closer to even, right? I mean, it was an early deficit for St. Clair. They got back to 8-8, but a quick turnover.
Good takeaway by Destiny. We'll just pass it back for Bapty. Has it pop off the rim. Second time, not going to fall. And looking to the stars there with Sarah Bapty, something we don't normally see happen with her. St. Clair going to try to capitalize on the mistake. Again, a very low-scoring first quarter, 14-8. They go down low. Bapty ripping it out of the hands. It's going to be a jump ball, but again, Sarah Bapty, the defender, into the mismatch and the size down low against Jaden Larocque. Just fighting, just displaying the two-way ability yet again.
Yeah, you love the intensity in the fight we've seen early in this one. Both teams, so far, it's been Humber's offense that's been a little more consistent. St. Clair finds himself down by a couple scores.
Nice move, mid-range J, not gonna go. Bapty will just let it go out of bounds.
Yeah, well played there by the crafty veteran who, again, we're watching along with a couple other final year players for Humber in one of their kind of curtain calls here from the Hawks Nest.
Oh, that right there is the perfect display of ball movement. You see Bapty and Bonnick, dynamic duo working together again.
Yeah, that was outstanding. The way that Bapty fed it in there and the great finish from Bonnick.
I believe Martin Brown got a piece of that one, so should be credited as a block. Humber working it up. Martin in the corner, lets it fly, not gonna go. On the backside, it's Persia Martin Brown with the rebound. She's gonna drive the lane, and soft off the glass for number 10.
As we get into the final minute of action here in the first quarter, some pretty sweet looking plays offensively for Humber. Their lead now up to 10. St. Clair still in single digits here, partner, as we head into the final few possessions.
Tate guarded closely against Bonnick. This is great lockdown defense. Bonnick looks like she got a hand to it. Another shot goes up, not gonna fall. Shot clock violation. Humber's defense. Marley Bonnick mentioned that it might not have showed up last game, but here in the first quarter, it's on full display.
And we talk about St. Clair being the second best team in terms of three-point percentage. 2 air balls on that possession, Zach. So Humber, you got to give them credit for putting St. Clair in a position where they're looking uncomfortable in the offensive end, or a lot more uncomfortable than usual.
2 giveaways there. Last 13 here in the first quarter. Martin thought about pulling up. Marley Bonnick, she's shimmying, shaking, spinning to the net. Not going to go. St. Clair trying to get it. Baptiste tries to steal the loose ball. It's still loose. The buzzer's just going to go. And oh man, what an ending to a wild, wild first quarter.
Yeah, so many great plays, especially in the final 2 minutes there. Humber ultimately finishing with that 10-point lead, holding. I think we'll see a spin move merchant, the likes of Marley Bonnick, for a long time, as we see one of her final home games here for the Humber Hawks.
Well, she has definitely perfected it over her career. And again, you know, I don't know if you see on social media what some of the players are posting and whatnot. Sarah Baptiste, or I guess the entire team, has a nickname for Marley Bonnick that I didn't know about.
I don't know about this either. What's the big reveal?
It's Bonnick Buckets.
Bonnick Buckets.
That's
I like
the nickname, and
hell yeah.
One of the I got an opportunity to be at the athletic morning breakfast for the academic side of student athletes, and Marley Bonnick won one of the awards, and Baptiste, under her breath, or I guess not really under her breath, as loud as she could, goes, "Bonnick Buckets!"
Let's go. Well, a cool function you were a part of, honoring, again, the academic achievements of these student athletes. You know, it takes so much devotion to be a part of one of these competitive teams, and to also balance the academics is very impressive.
And I think the number was, and anybody from Humber can correct me if I'm wrong on this, and if I am, I apologize, but I believe the number of students that received honors was 79 student athletes that received honors. So it was a really cool event, and you know, congratulations to all these players. And they do put a lot of hard work into what they do.
Yeah, it's a testament to these athletes and their individual effort, and also just the sort of system at place to support these students, right? To make sure that they are excelling both athletically and academically. So tip of the cap to all those who work hard to make this a well-rounded experience for these student athletes here.
So Humber's going to have possession here to start off the second quarter, inbounded by Baptiste, and here we go. They swing it around, looking for an opening. It's Martin Brown down on the baseline. Great ball movement by the Hawks, but look at the perimeter defense here by St. Clair. They leave Joseph open, and you can't do that. Saleha Joseph popping the three.
And how about that? Humber finding their first three-pointer of the contest. 0 for 5 in the first quarter. Quickly getting on the board there. On the other side, we talked a lot about St. Clair's three-point shooting. They were 1 for 5, Zach, after the first quarter.
Look at that defense. Persia Martin Brown, the player, was just driving past her, and she just grabs the ball. Jump ball gets called.
Yeah, that looked like not a fun trip down the lane. A lot of Humber defenders converging. Nothing coming easy right now offensively for St. Clair, as they still hold just 8 points here in the second.
Batten gives it off here to Tate. Tate guarded closely by Persia, and look at the move by Maya Tate, but can't get it to drop. Still fighting for it and kept alive here. Tate has it back. That was Terry, who was down low, just scrappy as ever. Tate thought about it from the logo, puts up a floater instead, and it's off the front side of the rim. The defense trying to swallow up this Humber attack, and finally the Hawks able to get it over the timeline. They go to Baptiste in the corner, letting it fly, not going to go, but Martin Brown crashing the glass, and that one rolling over the rim.
You know, Zach, St. Clair, obviously their offense has just had not a great start to the game and totally out of rhythm here, and it's hard for them to build back. You know, Zach, as you start to even get some decent looks for St. Clair on that last possession there, again, they just don't seem like they have their rhythm, so still not finding a way to come away with points.
Too many steps there. Humber will get possession. Substitutions coming on both sides here. Looks like Cullen and Proskos on the side of St. Clair, and Winter Josephs, Destiny, and O'Meary checking in on the opposite side for Humber. And the Saints will take a timeout.
I think a well thought about timeout call there, Zach, as St. Clair really needs to change the flow of this game. You know, they are starting to get some looks, and Humber's defense is looking really good tonight, but it's not perfect. But even when there's been that sort of gap in Humber's D, and St. Clair's had a decent look, it just seems like their players are just so kind of ice cold in that department that those looks aren't being made. And take another look here at that three-pointer early in the quarter, and that just continued to set the tone. In fact, that's been our only points here, a minute and a half into the second.
Well, it's the Saints. I mean, they're still looking for their next basket. Their last one coming at the minute 30 mark in the first.
Yeah, Humber now with their largest lead of the game.
Humber from the field shooting 40%. St. Clair 20. They're 3 of 15.
And look at the points in the paint, Zach. 14 for Humber down low versus St. Clair's 4. Again, that offensive consistency down low for the Hawks definitely jumped out in the first quarter. See if they go back to that here. So far, the only points in this frame have been from downtown.
Winter Josephs goes to the lane, and she gets fouled hard, but she gets up, she'll be okay. She'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Looks like she's maybe grabbing at a finger there or something. Could have gotten jammed up on that kind of hard drive to the hoop.
So for St. Clair, last time out was on February 4th. It was on the Wednesday, excuse me, and they dropped that one to Fanshawe, 72-53. They were, you know, up and down in January, started the year off hot in a 2-game win streak, and then went to Mohawk. And while those Mountaineers, they have been pesky. They won 96-75 against this Saints team. And that was their only loss of January. They felt better, got things right on track again against Sheridan on the 24th, and like I mentioned, the Fanshawe loss to start off February. So far here, the offense for both teams has been relatively quiet. Somebody has to come through, but the defense has been electric for the side of the Hawks.
I mean, despite the record for St. Clair at 8-5, I mean, most of those losses have been to very tough opponents, right? I mean, Conestoga, now their record 5-9. That was one of other St. Clair's losses, but all in all, I don't think that St. Clair's record does a accurate job of, you know, just how competitive and dangerous they are. Of course, we saw that victory over Humber earlier in the year in an absolute barn burner.
Here they're looking for somebody to spark the offense. Tate loses her balance, is gonna go over, and they're gonna call over the back there.
Yeah, this is incredible as we see the continuation of this defensive domination by Humber. You know, you tap me on the shoulder, Zach, when you get a sense that St. Clair's feeling comfortable, because as this game really has gotten going, Humber's defense suffocating, and it seems like just a frustrating type of situation for these Saints right now. Totally out of sync, and give credit to Humber's defense.
Inbounded quick, Baptiste gives it off to Bonnick down low. Bonnick tried to go with the finger roll, and she's trapped now, but trying to pass it out. Gives it off to Destiny. Shot clock expires. The defense stepping up big time there for the Saints.
Yeah, I'd like to see that from St. Clair, and that could be that sort of rallying point, right? Obviously, in offensive end, they got to get it going. Still in single digits, but that could be the sort of foundation. Get some good stops, get the momentum building.
Fadeaway jumper there, not going to fall, and Destiny tried to steal that one away. It was off her hand and out of bounds. Again, the defense has been spectacular for Humber, and then their offense was on fire to start, and it's kind of dwindled off. For St. Clair, they got things rolling. They were keeping pace, and their offense has been quiet, really, since about that 2-minute mark in the first quarter. Collins go down low. They swing it back out to Tate, trying to cut the defense there was Tate, but look at it. It's Bapty again. Jump ball called.
Wow, this is something to watch, Zach. Time after time, Humber continuing to get these stops. And you make a good point that, Humber certainly not connecting as much as they have earlier in the game offensively. And that's maybe going to leave a door open, because if Humber was just staying consistent with the scoring, Zach, they could be creating some tremendous separation right now as St. Clair's score remains frozen. But while Humber's lead is up to 13 now, again, Zach, the Hawks have only scored 1 bucket this quarter. So they're missing an opportunity.
One bucket has been scored this quarter.
And that's really something the Hawks will want to capitalize on right now.
They go down to Bonnick. Nice pass to Destiny. Count the bucket and the foul. Remwan Destiny.
Yeah, major league right there. And in a quarter where points have been hard to come by, that is an even more important bucket. Chance for another 3-point play here. This would help the Hawks triple up the score of St. Clair. Job by O'Mary, almost hunting down that offensive board.
And again, Tate has not been able to find any open court, but this is a transition three. It's not going to fall. Bapty with the rebound, and Sarah Bapty with the head of steam. Pass down low to Destiny. One dribble going to the lane, and it's going to go right off of the defense and out of play.
Yeah, no foul call, but there's still good news for the Hawks. They hang on to the rock. 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Quickly inbounding here to Bonnick. Bapty couldn't get loose. Proskos, good defense. Bullet pass down low, and still going to be Humber ball with 7.3 on the shot clock.
Yeah, now 7 seconds on the shot clock. Karina will once again inbound from the baseline.
And it's almost the identical play. This time they don't give the pass up there. Bonnick, the three, and it's going to be short right off the front rim. Tate taking it up. She has Proskos with her. Tate will just take it herself, and it's Maya Tate going to the lane. That's the first basket since she drained a three. But Bonnick back the other way too hard. Martin Brown cleans up the dirty laundry and gets 2.
Well, it seems like ultimately a win, even though it was quickly negated by the transition bucket from Humber. You gotta like to see the Saints' leading scorer get in it. Now another bucket courtesy of Kaylin Batten. But Zach, I love that play earlier from Maya Tate. She took it herself, working against Bapty, got the bucket. That could be good news for the Saints, their leading scorer on the season. Now with 8 points, she has certainly strung together a lot of the Saints scoring here tonight. That could be a key for the visiting team to get back in this one.
So picking up that foul there was Ava Prosko. Says Humber getting things rolling. Mid-range J by Sarah Bapty. Humber, they've gotten their offense starting to cook again, up to 27. St. Clair looking for any spark they can find. Tate has been the only one that's been able to find it so far. Tate can't go anywhere. Steps back, pulls up for 3. Maya Tate Last 3 buckets have come off of the hand of number 23. Guillermo to the lane, and it's going to be a turnover.
Maybe 3 in the key against Bonnick, or at any rate, it is against Marley. Her personal foul, first one of the game, so she'll take a rest for the time being. Zach, offense picking up for both teams, and especially for the young lady with the rock right now. Maya Tate off that 3-pointer. Let's see what else she's got.
Steps back again for 3, and who thought for a second she had it. Our angle is a little bit deceiving. It looked like she might have gotten it.
It was close, and even that 3-pointer that she just made, I kind of had a feeling right away that was going in. As big turning point here for the Saints as their scoring comes alive here. They're still down by 12.
Apostolou for 3, bouncing off the rim. Marina Apostolou comes off the bench and drains a big-time 3. Working around, trying to go baseline. They can't find it. Still going to be Saints ball. And again, it's just been tough sledding really the whole time for St. Clair on offense.
But as it's starting to pick up for them, Humber just answers right back and is making some buckets on their end. So that's helping to keep the Hawks in this nice, comfortable position. 15-point lead right now with 4 minutes to go and change in the second quarter.
Bapti passes it out to Apostolou again, this time a little bit too hard. Guillermo can't get the board. It's Lily Collins crashing in and is able to come through. St. Clair, they go quickly to Tate underneath the net. Somehow kept that in. They swing it around from the top. Not gonna go, rebounded by Winter Josephs. Jump ball, look at that, the defense picking up. Ava Willoughby, aggressive as ever.
Yeah, that's just good opportunistic plays there by that St. Clair team, but the pressure, a bobbled pass for Humber proved to be problematic and give the Saints a fresh chance here to work their way back into this one.
Proskos thought about it, trying to pass back, but a little bit of a miscue. And the Hawks will take a timeout. With 3:47 left to go in the second, it is 30-15. The Hawks doubling up St. Clair right now. And really everything going right for Humber. The defense is what is propelling this offense.
No question, and it was really something to watch. You know, early in the game, Humber just was undeniable offensively. I think their first 3 or 4 trips down the court, it was money. And then it really became the defense for the Hawks taking center stage, and Apostolou with a lovely 3-pointer. And just a few moments ago, it was 24-8. And now we've really seen the Saints come alive offensively, but again, the Hawks are stepping back into their offensive rhythm as well. Kind of a fun first half, Zach. A lot of sort of interesting dynamics that have been playing out. There's times where the defense was basically all we were seeing, and other times where offense is popping off big time.
So far, I mean, on the side of the Hawks, the scoring has been pretty spread out. 7 players with points. On the other side, St. Clair, only 3 players with points, but there's only 1 player that has more than 2. And that's Maya Tate with 11. She has just done everything she can to try to help her team stay in this. Bapti will swing it out. Apostolou didn't like what she saw. Trying to give it off to Guillermo, but it's not going to go. Proskos has to go. High off the glass, and it's in.
Wow, you got to give her credit for making the adjustment. That pass was a little far in front, so not the most comfortable layup there, but made beautifully.
Takes it away again here is Proskos. Now it's Tate trying to cut down and tipped by Bapti, taken away by Martin Brown. But look at Tate not giving up on the play. Players crashing for it. And another jump ball.
quick whistle. Looked like that ball was still very much loose from our angle, but it was quite the ferocious collision of players coming together for that one.
A little bit of tempers flaring there, as I'm not going to repeat what Collins said, but you can see she said, I got punched. I got punched in the face. Was not happy with it. Humber will have the possession nonetheless. Joseph thought about it. Proskos, look at the defense. Gets away. Tate on Bonnick. Bonnick falls, and it's given away right in the hands of Ava Proskos. The defense has stepped up mightily for St. Clair. Collins pulls up for three, and it's not going to go, just short.
Some good
Bapti.
pressure still from St. Clair here.
They swing it out to Martin, and you said it, partner, the pressure is undeniable right now.
Well, for St. Clair, certainly have to feel good about the fact that their leading scorer on the season is looking pretty good here tonight. Maya Tate with 11 points, so that's certainly maybe something they can lean on as Humber continues to get it done in the offensive zone. But perhaps as we get towards halftime, Zach, the Saints can try to find a way to further weaponize Maya Tate and her offensive output tonight.
Remwan Destiny got the foul bucket and converts on the N1.
That's so tough, as you know that Saints' priority number one is just, especially heading into the intermission, just try to get this thing a little closer, psychologically kind of get easier to wrap your head around this comeback effort, but Humber just continues to find their points. There's a very good-natured foul call there, and Destiny gets charged with the foul.
Yeah, how about the game out of Maya Tate so far? I mean, she is being pressured really all around the court. She's had to put up 8 shots. She's drained 4 of them, and that's been with a defender just completely up in her grill, and she has not cared. Number 23 is standing the test right now, looking for anybody to help her, and contact down low.
Yeah, that's a foul against Jaden LaRock. Kind of part of that thing we were mentioning earlier about a bit of physicality in this game. It looks like maybe they're upgrading that just from a... No, ball's going back to the baseline, partner, but
That's figure out. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on.
It was quite the collision. It wouldn't be unthinkable to...
Look at the full court press here.
Yeah.
Martin able to slip away, and they'll toss it up here to Destiny. She's driving down. Destiny was looking for Martin Brown. And Persia, you can see here, says, don't worry about me. Just take the shot. Just take the shot. Bapti inbounds to the corner. Joseph. Martin Brown swings it down to Bapti, and it's Tate again. Maya Tate has been everywhere for St. Clair, and she's doing it again here. They swing it to Tate, guarded closely. Proskos left wide open on the far side. She wanted the shot. Tate just couldn't find her. Now it's Tate again with the ball. Proskos pulls up for 3, and it's not going to go. Kloss rebounds it, and jump ball. Clausen went down. Pops up quickly, and it's still going to be, I believe, St. Clair with the possession.
Well, again, these are important possessions for them. Down by 16. Even if they can just bring it within 10 or single digits, be feeling so much better heading into that third quarter.
Pull up for 3, and it doesn't fall. Humber get the board again. 1:30 left to go here in the first half. Martin driving baseline. Martin can't find it. Rebounded by LaRock. Clausen. They give it off. It's Batten looking for an opening. She can't find it. Swinging it up top for LaRock. Tate pulling up for 3 again, in and out of the rim.
Well, you can tell she's a shooter, and look no further than the fact she's already put together 11 points, really carrying the team offensively right now. That one just centimeters off target.
Martin to Joseph, lets it fly again, and it's just offline. Proskos will go for the board, and she's pressured quickly. Martin Brown takes it away, and Persia goes up and can't get it to fall, but she'll get her own board. Miriam Martin now doesn't like what she sees. Joseph dancing. Joseph to the rim. Off the glass, not going to fall. A rock trying to come away with it, but now it's Batten fighting Martin Brown. 27 left to go. Bullet pass to Tate, and it's out of her reach. That's the first level of frustration we've seen out of Maya Tate really all night long. She's been able to contain it, but it has been a tough first half here for St. Clair. Again, you look across the board, 11 points for Maya Tate. She is doing everything that she can possibly do right now for her squad.
No question, but we know that there are some strong supporting cast members on this St. Clair team, but right now I think you just see Humber has drawn up the strategy, is applying the pressure defensively to really neutralize St. Clair in the offensive zone. And at times, they've come back alive, Zach, and didn't take too long into that second quarter. We saw some real progress with St. Clair getting back on track. But now Humber, once again, seems like playing defense in a way that's causing frustration, both for St. Clair's players and coaching staff.
It really has been just a defensive-heavy game to start here. I mean, we knew both sides have the ability to do that. Humber, they struggled against St. Clair last time. Granted, the big takeaway for them was our defense didn't play well. But St. Clair, their defense did play well, and they're playing well again here. When you think about some of the chances the Hawks have had, this could be further out of reach. But the Saints are keeping themselves in it, and then credit to number 23, Maya Tate. She's doing whatever she can to keep her team in it.
Yeah, we know there's offensive talent, but in this game, it just seems like defensively the oxygen just isn't getting there. But we've seen still flashes of some impressive scoring.
Tate guarding Bonnick. Tough challenge. Bonnick just bodies her way through. It's not going to go. Trying to work quickly the other way here are the Saints. And a foul is going to be called on Saleha Joseph. So it's 6.7 left to go.
What? How much is left?
5 seconds. Almost 7 seconds.
6.7 according to the official game clock here. So that's going to be inbounds around midcourt. We'll see if St. Clair can get one off. They got it in the hands of their leading scorer.
Tate trying to find an opening. Tate double guarded and can't get anything.
How about you sum up the half in just a single play, and I think you could point to that right there at the buzzer.
Yeah, I mean, they know, nobody has been able to get things going on the side of St. Clair. They can try to go to their playmaker at number 23. It's double team, and it's impossible for her to get something off. At the half, 33-17 is your score. The Hawks lead it. We'll take a quick break. Be back with you for more action from the Hawks Nest. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hawks Nest. Half number 2 about to come up between these two titans of teams. Again, Zach Benoit alongside Matt Hamill. Matt, that first half, I mean, it was really just defensive front to say the least. And then Humber, I mean, they were just frustrating St. Clair.
No question. It was the Humber defense that really emerged as the central figure in that role, or that quarter, I should say. And really, after the first and second played out, it just seen Humber establish a pretty healthy lead. They're up by 16 points right now. That's their largest lead of the game, and they'll also start this half with the ball.
Scoring leaders after the one half of OCAA basketball has been played as Bonnick trying to cut through the zone. It's Aremwan Destiny with 11. On the other side, Maya Tate with 11. Persia Martin Brown has put together 8 of her own. Those are the scoring leaders currently in the game. Again, we talked a boatload about Maya Tate and what she's had to kind of go up with today as Aremwan goes back up to the line, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, good job there. Humber getting the second chance on this offensive drive, and now some free throws coming out of it, and tough there with another foul against St. Clair's number 10, Lily Collins. So she now has 3 fouls to kind of move delicately with in the rest of this game.
First one there by Destiny doesn't go. And she'll go 1 for 2 at the line. So again, St. Clair looking for any kind of offensive spark. They weren't able to find it in the first half. They had Maya Tate, who was able to produce what she normally does, but they needed somebody to help her out, and they're trying to find that here now. Batten swings it out to Tate, and she's going to pull up for 3 again, this time a little too hard, off the window, and rebounded by Destiny. Gives it off here to Bapty. They got to get over that timeline quick, and they will beat the count. Destiny looking for anything, finds Bapty wide open for 3, but it's going to be short.
Well, good look. You got to think Bapty's going to take those shots when she's that wide open. Doesn't fall, so just that single point. 1 point scored here in the first minute of this quarter.
Tate looking for an opening again. They give it around here now. Terry back up to Tate, one-on-one with Destiny. Tate with Bonnick now going to the rim, and will get blocked, but no, contact was made, so Maya Tate will go to the line to shoot 2. Tate's first one is good. She'll go 2 for 2 at the line, so her productive night continues.
Yeah, 13 points here. And see how she can build on that, but
Bonnick pulling up for 3, and it's Bonnick buckets checking in here in the second half.
yeah, and she made one from downtown in the previous game earlier this week. And another one there here in this second half.
Staking away there, and it's Destiny going to the lane. And Destiny will get 2.
Yeah, quick work there as the Hawks move down with some pace. And now the lead up to 20 points here, the biggest of the game.
Collins guarded closely there by Bapty. Proskos going one-on-one here with Beverly. They're trying to spin it, and it's Bonnick coming away, and we both saw what she said, and that one just slips out of the fingertips of Marley Bonnick.
Yeah, a little frustrated with herself as she poked that one away, but it just got a little too far out in front of her. And then she was sprinting towards that scorer's table. A little extra conversation here between the officials.
There are 5 seconds on the shot clock.
And I guess the result is, yeah, putting 5 seconds on the shot clock here, Zach.
And I think it was because she never had full possession, so it never changed. Tate trying to find it, step back, 3, it's cash!
Wow, almost worked in their favor, Zach. The fact, no time to work with, so had to take that 3, and she nails it.
That's Maya Tate in her element. Bonick trying to answer back with a 3 of her own, it's not gonna fall. They keep the play alive, Proskos. Carried across, why not give it off to 23? She's had the hot hand all night long. Can they find an opening down low? Yes, they can. Passes there. The connection works. Anifa Terry gets 2 on the board. Martin Brown through contact, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating there for the Saints, where they essentially take the foul and give Humber some easy offensive points. That's the last thing St. Clair would like to see. Is step 1 is get the offense going right for St. Clair, and they certainly have done that. Now they really need to just keep building that momentum, but have to really limit Humber. This is quite the lead the home team has developed here. And Persia Martin Brown is now up to 10 points tonight.
They swing it out again. Tate looking for the opening, finds Terry. Lucasen, can they find it? No. Martin Brown comes through with the board, and quick outlet to Destiny. Tries to sidestep the defender. Joseph doesn't like what she sees. And Bapti will slow the play down. Bapti, they go down low to Destiny. Into the corner. 2 seconds on the shot clock is taken away.
Exactly, we've kind of been sleeping on the fact that Maya Tate, not only does she have 16 points, she's been leading the team in scoring all season. Maybe we've mentioned this already. She's a first-year player partner doing all this in just her first campaign of collegiate basketball.
Physical down low as Proskos will go to line to shoot 2 on the foul by Bapti.
Coach Andy Kiss is liking what he's seen with the press that his team is applying here.
Again, we talked about the help of scoring. Still, I mean, it's been the Maya Tate show. Ava Proskos is the only player that has more than 2 points. She's now at 4.
Yeah, on the other side, a total different story. It's really quite a committee of players scoring for the Hawks. Got 7 points for Airmont Destiny, 10 points for Persia Martin Brown.
Bapti one-on-one on the top there. Will elect to pass it off to Martin Brown. She's going right to the rim. Persia, bucket and the foul.
And that's what Humber would just love to see keep happening, is just getting the offense humming along here.
First time all game I think we've seen Maya Tate take a rest. Martin Brown sinks both. This is where it's going to be questionable of who's going to step up and be the offense for the side of St. Clair. You have basically your engine on the bench now. They try to go inside, but it's picked off by Persia. Martin Brown kicks it to Bapti. She's pulling up for three. Sarah Bapti.
And a timeout called by St. Clair. Humber just continues to deliver offensively. And the score just grows. And Humber's lead now up to 23. My goodness, what a effort by the Hawks here tonight. Again, their final regular season game at home, I should say. They do have 2 more road games on the schedule. It'll be, pardon me, just 1 more road game, and that will wrap up. So tonight, St. Clair, and on Wednesday, February 11th, they'll be visiting Sheridan. And for a team that's come into this one, Zach, on quite the win streak, 7 games, the longest win streak in the OCAA West Division. And a good chance to keep that humming along here, and then taking on last place Sheridan in that final game. So right now the Hawks are sitting with a record of 12-2. They would have a good chance at making that 14-2 at the end of the regular season if they can hang on here, Zach, and just continue to keep it up with the scoring.
Yeah, the big game that everybody is going to have circled on their calendars is going to be the Fanshawe Mohawk game that is played, I believe it's Wednesday, February 11th. Yes, so on Wednesday, February 11th, Fanshawe and Mohawk. If Mohawk loses, Humber would get the first seed in the West. If Mohawk wins, Humber will hold on to that second seed. So big stipulations in that game next Wednesday. Everybody will be glued to YouTube to watch that one. Here in this one, though, the defense still strong as ever for the Hawks. Bapti is going to carry it over to Bonnick. Thought about taking the shot, but elects not to. Winner Joseph has it pop off her left, right, and then out of bounds. Clausen and Terry working here. And a travel is called on Anifa Terry.
So still on the bench is not only Maya Tate, another player we've seen a lot in the mix, has been resting Lily Collins. That being said, Zach, she's just checking back into the game now is Collins.
Joseph one-on-one here with Proskos. Saleha Joseph, high off the glass, not gonna fall. Ava comes down with the rebound. Taking it with a head of steam, one-on-one here with Bapti. Proskos, step back, pulls up for 3, and it's off the front of the rim. Bapti's gonna come away with it. Bapti right to the rim, and wanted the call, did not get it. Collins, it's a rocket pass right into the arms of Karina Winter Josephs, and she goes and gets fouled.
Just a couple of quick transition plays. The Hawks blazing down the court. Bapti wanted the foul, didn't get it, but Winter Josephs earns it on a very similar looking play. And with that, more free throws for Humber. That's sort of been a common theme here in this third quarter.
First shot there for Karina Winter Josephs is good. Again, 48-26 is the score. If you're just tuning in, welcome into the Hawks Nest. Zach Benoit, Matt Hamill here with you, and well, it's been a fun start to the night. We still have probably the marquee matchup of the year coming up after this one. The number 1 seeded Humber Hawks taking on the number 2 seeded St. Clair Saints, and what it will be an absolute barn burner of a game. But we got to finish this one here. So far, the women's team for the Hawks on top. Lucasen can't find it. And now will be taken back the other way by the Hawks. Winter Josephs cuts down low to Bonnick. Marley Bonnick trying to go straight to the rim. Bonnick, up and under. Able to find it for 2.
We gotta let these players. Can we explore a 6th year of eligibility, Zach? I'd love to see Marley Bonnet continue to do this kind of stuff. Not ready to wave goodbye to plays like that.
Proskos right to the rim, and it's high off the backside of the rim. She'll go down and jump ball, and look at that. Tenacity out of Ava Proskos.
You know, Zach, you mentioned perhaps a matchup of the year in this men's game coming up next. Again, the number 5 ranked team in the country, St. Clair, taking on number 6 ranked in Canada, Humber. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a matchup of 2 teams with that high of a CCAA ranking, not just in the OCAA this year, but I would say maybe across the country.
If you think there's going to be an empty seat in this building, highly, highly doubt it.
Just hope everybody got the memo about the earlier start time, Zach. Of course, it's a 7 o'clock tip-off for the men's game.
Yeah, hopefully they aren't like me and completely did not know about it.
But you know what, partner? You're such a professional. You showed up so early for work. It didn't matter that you had an hour. You miscalculated the hour. You still were in time.
Apostolou in now with Martin. Joseph thought about throwing it aside. Now it's a shoulder shot, and it's connection by Saleha Joseph. Yeah, shout out to the 407. No traffic there, partner.
Hey.
Clausen pulling up for 3, likes what she sees. It just can't fall. Peel, newly checked in, will get the rebound. Michaela Peel left all alone down low. Ran down the core with a head of steam and was just left all by her lonesome.
Cool and collected, got that ball down low. Confident turnaround and made that look easy.
Proskos guarded closely, spin move, shoulder, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And the Hawks now knocking on the door of a 30-point lead, as they've really just been able to freeze this St. Clair offense. St. Clair scored 8 points in the first quarter. They added another 9 in the second quarter. And here they've, so far in this frame, they've put up another 9 points. So they are kind of trending in the right direction, but single-digit points per quarter against the Humber Hawk team that has shown some pretty solid play in both ends is a recipe for a home team win here. Yeah, if they can continue this way, not going to call this one early. That would be a foolish move.
Truly, the defense has been the difference maker in this game for the Hawks. Shot there, not going to fall. LaRock will come away with the rebound. Clausen working with LaRock, trying to find her down low, and it's Peel that time, breaking things up. Now it's Martin to the lane, and Martin is fouled.
And for Collins, that will be her 4th foul. So she's gotten into some trouble in that regard. Looks like the leading scorer for the Saints is getting ready to come back in here. Zach, she's had a pretty solid breather, and Maya Tate and her 16 points are getting ready to check back in here.
Frustrations on the side of St. Clair. I mean, we have a close view of being right behind the bench, but it's just been a tough night really all night long. They haven't been able to get their offense going. And you mentioned that they're one of the best in the league when it comes to three-point shooting. That hasn't been able to get unlocked today. Their defense has been strong, but Humber have just been playing the slow chip away all game long, and that's where we're at right now.
Well, Humber's a top 5 team in three-point shooting in terms of percentage and attempts per game.
Apostolou can't find it, but it's Peel with the rebound. They're going to swing it around again. Martin looking down low to Garamo, and C-Nac Garamo finds it.
You'd think head coach for Humber, CJ Nofuente, has got to be the happiest of all to see this type of play from the Hawks. It's just good basketball, great passing, high percentage shots are being made.
Garamo comes away with a rebound, and it's going to be a jump ball.
And all this coming together for a recipe for the Hawks that equates to a 30-point lead with a minute and change left here in the third quarter.
I think we're just getting things sorted out here, and then Garamo will go to the line here to shoot 2.
Garamo with 3 points tonight.
Make it 4.
Again, no one here tonight for the Hawks has really kind of run away with the scoring, and that's kind of been the story throughout the season, right? I mean, as much as Bapty is that consistent points leader, 15 per game to lead Humber on the year, oftentimes it is just sort of a kind of choose your own adventure, you know, whose night is it to step up and have a double-digit scoring night?
And tonight it's just been a committee. I mean, Destiny and Martin Brown have been a force down low. You can't forget about Marley Bonnick and Bapty, who are doing basically everything else. And you can't forget about Saleha Joseph in the corner. And she misses the shot there, but it's Apostolou coming up. And it's Apostolou, soft touch off the glass.
Apostolou, a first-year player who's just been excellent and shown such bright spots, exactly like that. Of course, with some key players who will be no longer eligible to play next year. We talked about Bapty and Bonnick, and O'Meary. Zach, that certainly puts a lot of focus on the younger players and what kind of role they'll be taking next year.
Yeah, and you see her here, Apostolou, they try to get it down low, but it's going to be kicked out of bounds. Turnover. Do we see the full court shot is the question I have.
Well, you see Tate is looking like she was maybe ready to get that ball and heave it, but it's going to be Humber's ball, actually, much to the surprise of everybody on the court, it seems like.
Joseph in the corner, and it's not going to go. So after 3 quarters of play, Humber 61, St. Clair 29. And what has just been a defensive masterclass, to say the least, out of the Hawks.
Yes, indeed. We mentioned how low they've been able to keep St. Clair's scoring. And that trend continues here. It's Humber now at 61. I mean, that was an especially productive third quarter, Zach. Humber started the half with 33 points, so they added another 28 there. And you have a team that's chasing you, trying to close the gap, and Humber goes ahead and scores 28. That makes it all but impossible for St. Clair to kind of turn the tables and get where they want to be, and the score helping to reflect a very comfortable spot for the Hawks right now.
You mentioned this is climbing up to be almost a 40-point lead, and St. Clair, when you look at their season as a whole, they have just been absolutely stunned here. The lowest point total they've put up on the year was against Mohawk. It was 43. That was back on November 7th. But the shooting as a whole for the Saints, it's just been a tough night. Nobody has been able to get hot, really, outside of Maya Tate, who is just putting up fantastic numbers. She's 5 of 11, 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, but granted, she's had to take a couple extra shots. And she's 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So her numbers shooting-wise are fantastic. It's just nobody else has been able to, help her out here, which is, again, just shocking as it is, considering how strong the team has been.
And for Maya, again, this is her first year in OCAA basketball, and just fast forward to second, third, fourth year, and you could imagine just how lethal she will be. I mean, there's some plays she's made here tonight, number 23 in green and yellow, who it's just very abundantly clear that she is a lethal player here.
Yeah, you said it. Expecting, 2-3 years' time, you hear the name Maya Tate, and you're saying, oh yeah, it's a player that has tons of accolades already.
It wouldn't surprise me, partner, but all in all, her efforts here tonight have not been enough, as it's just been the team defensive shutdown from the Hawks that really is a big takeaway so far after 3 quarters.
That's deflected by Beverly, and Bonnick will get fouled down low. That's another thing. I don't know if you noticed it, but Tate took the shot. Foul gets called. She's walking back. She's talking to herself, saying, that's my fault. I need to, I shouldn't do that. And to have that as a rookie, I mean, that says volumes about the type of player that you are.
She's now got 3 fouls. Does Tate.
Bonnick pulling up for 3. It's not going to go. Martin Brown's there. And Persia will go up, get the and 1.
Persia so strong, especially in those situations tonight. Getting the rock in the paint and just finishing. And she's listed as 5'10". She's looking a lot taller than that on some of these plays, the way she's grabbing these rebounds uncontested.
Martin Brown unable to come down with that one. Complete the and 1. Clausen taking it across, working it quickly. Spinning down low, Batten, and she gets it to go in. It's a soft roll around the rim there.
Well, Zach, so much is made in sports about peaking and playing your best at the right time. And for Humber to really perform so well, not just here tonight, but against what was the #1 ranked team in the country, Mohawk, just recently with a very decisive win there for Humber. Just very good signs if they can keep this up.
O'Meary for 3. Beverly O'Meary. The best 3-point percentage on the Hawks, and she's showing why. Now the other way, the Saints trying to muster up anything they can. Some momentum heading into the late stages of the season. Clausen at the top, but look at this defense. Noir guarding closely. Shot clock violation.
Well, Zach, for Humber against St. Clair, an all-time record in favor of the Hawks, 25 wins, 14 losses. Humber has won 13 in the last 14 games against the St. Clair women's basketball team at home. So Humber's Hawks Nest surroundings has been pretty friendly when they've welcomed the team from southwestern Ontario into town.
Yeah, they've kind of dominated that matchup really over the years, and they continue to show why this is a fantastic program. There's a player that contributed so much to this program, CJ Nafuente. As a player, she did tremendous things. I mean, was one of the best we've ever seen. And as a coach, well, she's continued to do it as well. I mean, just showing her winning ways.
No question, Zach. I had the pleasure of catching the tail end of Coach CJ's playing career when I was a student back in the day, and CJ was so remarkable and how she was able to dominate, and so to have her as the coach following in the footsteps of former longtime head coach for the Humber Hawks women's team, AJ Sharma, and you can tell that he's in the coaching department provided CJ with a lot of tools. And you just combine CJ's intelligence and basketball IQ. And in her second year at the helm, the team's in good hands.
Fouled down low is Martin Brown again, so she'll go to line to shoot 2.
But Zach, don't sleep on the kind of full coaching staff for Humber. Another major component, assistant coach Alina Domingo. She was, again, you talk about a dominant team. Humber with a 1-2 punch back in the day when both CJ and Alina were playing together. That was unbelievable to watch.
It always just shows, you know, a lot of the coaches here at Humber, majority of them have playing careers here as Hawks, and it shows the mentality of buying into the system. And a lot of the players back in the day, they've bought in. And look at Persia trying to set up an attack there, and it's gonna be a foul, looks like, on Maya Tate.
The foul is on number 23, Maya Tate. Personal foul number 4. Team foul number 4.
And was trying to figure out what was going on. Persia took herself out of the game. She immediately looked over her bench and went like, did the X motion saying she's coming out. Head coach Fuente says to her, "You okay?" And she goes, "I'm just dying, tired." See Nat Guillermo cashing another 2. Proskos, hand off here to Tate. Tate going one-on-one, and it's Bapti. Why not? Another steal for Sarah Bapti. They're going up. Guillermo, one-stop dribble, 3 on her, and will be jump ball called.
And looks like Clausen might have taken a bump up high, but good toughness there as she stays in the game. Well, you mentioned it looked like the Hawks were marching their way to a 40-point lead, and they're very close to that here, up by 39 with 7 minutes to go.
You talk about the toughness of Clausen. Well, again, you see, you know, not one of the tallest players on the court, but she's still put up 6 rebounds, 1 offensive, 5 defensive. And I mean, she's just going down there, not afraid of taking contact, is number 6. Tate looking for an opening, spinning down low, and it's Bapti coming through again, the vet.
Well, Zach, the good Lord doesn't grace everyone with a ton of height, but for some, a lot of heart. And you see some of those shorter stature players grabbing rebounds, you know that usually plays a big role, the determination.
Sarah Bapti cutting through, was looking for Bonnick in the corner, but has the ball stripped away. But look at this, actively on the hunt, was looking for her 3rd steal of the night. Taking it into the corner. They're trying to find an opening, they can't. And it's Noir taking it away. Julia Noir trying to go coast to coast. Will go up high off the glass. Soft touch.
Doesn't get any higher off the glass than that. A great touch to give Humber that 41-point lead here.
The former York Lion coming off the bench, making an impact there. Tate up top. Proskos takes the ball off the handoff, pulling for 3. He's not going to go, and it's Noir with the rebound. Quick handoff to Bapti. Turn on the Jets is Sarah Bapti finding Bonnick in the corner, and it's not going to go, and it's punched out of play.
Well, Zach, Humber's offense getting it done. Defensively, the Hawks have allowed only 2 points in this 4th quarter. How's that for a closeout effort? Humber will hang on to possession here in what is, without question, just a terribly frustrating night for the St. Clair team.
Trying to go inside to Destiny, but it's too far out of the way. Pass up to Collins. Down low, Terry, and it's not going to go. Bapti was back there pressuring. Bonnick, baseline. Bonnick will go to the free throw.
Well, the player guard and Bonnick took a spill covering her coming down the court. So Bonnick was yelling for that one, and she did get the ball and was able to make something happen. Fouls on Ava Willoughby. And Zach, a timeout by St. Clair as we keep marching through this one.
So we did mention that it is the final regular season game for Marley Bonnick, Beverly O'Meary. As you see Beverly right there, popping the three-pointer. And for Sarah Bapti, three players that have made a tremendous impact to this Humber Hawks women's basketball program. But again, also want to mention it's final regular season home game for us here on the broadcast team. So from myself, Zach Benoit, Matt Hamill, we want to thank all of you for tuning in all season long. I want to give a shout out to everybody behind the scenes, all the wonderful probs that are working in the truck behind the scenes, all the wonderful students working the cameras, the ones and twos, doing a tremendous job, making sure we look good on your screens at home. And then just again, another fantastic year of Humber Hawks varsity athletics as the season again is coming to a close.
I feel you there, partner. Appreciate everybody either watching or involved in this presentation of OCAA basketball. And yeah, what a fun one we have lined up for the final regular season broadcast of the season here.
And when you look at it as a whole, again, what a year it's been for, again, Humber College as a whole. OCAA champions in women's cross country, OCAA champions in men and women's golf, OCAA champions in women's softball, and don't forget OCAA champions in men's rugby.
I was going to say, how we do in rugby? Yes.
The Saints trying to mount something there. Nice shot off the tee.
Yeah,
that was
nice
Eva
bucket.
Willowsby.
And again, that's helping to get a little bit of juice going here in the fourth as the Saints entered the quarter with 29 points. They're now up to 33 after that shot.
Garamo going to the rim, not going to find it. Terry comes down with the board. It's going to be Clausen working it around now. Clausen into the corner for Collins. Doesn't like what she sees. Now it's Willowsby. Terry trying to find Collins and has her pocket picked. Bapti hustling down. Sarah Bapti, mid-range J, and it's just not going to fall. It's off the backside of the rim.
Postaloo comes back in as Bapti maybe taking her curtain call for the night.
And if that is the final time for Sarah Bapti, what a career it's been here at the Hawks Nest. Solid numbers and one of the best, if not the best defender we've seen, best two-way player we've seen. One of the first people I met here when I first started with Humber, and always just full of energy. It was Sarah Bapti. Apostolou will come down with the board. Miriam Martin now will carry it across the timeline with 3:45 left to go in this one.
Yeah, partner's always that X factor, right? Or just that personality that someone brings to their athletic career. And for Bapti, you've always just had to admire the kind of effort she brings, a sort of heart and soul type of role that, you know, she just grew into more and more with each year. And, you know, gotta love a athlete that can razzle dazzle, but when they also just seem to, you know, bring that X factor in the personality department. It's such a great recipe, and we'll definitely be missing Bapti as well when she moves on from her Humber Hawk OCAA basketball days.
I joked with her, I was messaging her a couple days ago just saying, yeah, you know, you started when I started. You're finished. Now I feel old. And she says, we're both old. I said, yeah, we're both hitting unk status. And she's like, and she just kept talking to me about that. And I said, no, I feel like I'm grandfather status. I'm still technically older than you.
Hey, if you're old, then I'm in big trouble, partner. So let's remember, you were just a twinkle in your father's eye back when I started doing games around here.
How about this? Marina Apostolou goes up for that, and it's a jump ball. St. Clair will have the possession, but, like, what a job.
Three and a half to go here, partner. The fellas are looking like they're getting antsy, ready to take the court and warm up.
And there's Beatrice Clausen right on cue. She's been having a tough night offensively. Everything else has been solid. The defense, the rebounding, and she gets rewarded there with a big-time three. Apostolou, she's pulling up for a three of her own, and it's too strong. Martin Brown keeps it alive.
Looked like maybe St. Clair might have had an unfortunate bounce, but refs are saying Humber. No, are they going to give it to the Hawks here? That mystery will be revealed after the timeout called by the Hawks.
Well, like I said, 3 minutes left to go, and really the formalities are the only thing that are stopping this game right now. 75-36, Humber has just put on to display. They've been playing some of their best basketball really down the stretch. We mentioned they're on a 7-game win streak. Last loss coming to the St. Clair Saints in the first half of the season, where things looked a little bit confusing for this team because they were struggling to really put games together, and then something clicked, and it has just worked ever since.
Yeah, for Humber, only 2 losses this season, right? And they came relatively early, back in November. It was a loss to a very tough Mohawk team, and then right after that, another loss to St. Clair. So maybe you get into that, just the feel early in the season. You don't have a great sample size to draw from. And ultimately, the Hawks have responded since that loss to St. Clair in Windsor on November 29th. Humber has not lost a game, including an absolute statement win over Mohawk on the last day of January. Just recently, they won 79-58, and statement win is what we're looking at right here as well. St. Clair's a tough team, and Humber's putting a pretty big offensive effort up against them.
Humber, they get it to go, and it's Winter Josephs popping for 3. Was just want to mention, how about this? The 2 teams you lost to earlier in the season, you say your defense wasn't there, they weren't playing its best. How about later in the year, they combined for about 90 somewhat points in 2 games. It's just tremendous stuff. That pass from Apostolou, just a little bit too high.
I mean, all year long, Humber's done a good job of keeping their opponents scoring down.
Noir and Proskos check back in here. Terry pulling up for 3, and it's too hard off the back rim. A lot of players going for that rebound. It's poked around. Apostolou is diving for it. And we're going to have another jump ball.
Gotta love that. Hey, Apostolou, first-year player, showing some serious tenacity. Looked like no hesitation going and diving into that loose ball.
Well, you know, you're losing Sarah Baptiste next year. You're losing Marley Bonnick, Beverly O'Meary. Got to get players that are, you know, going to make impacts. Marina Apostolou putting her name in that hat.
No doubt. And again, that's one of those traits you just love to see. Definitely need some of that leadership on the team in that department. Putting your body on the line. You look at Humber's men's team, a guy like Kwabena Antwi sort of fulfills that role. Seems like he just absolutely committed to doing whatever he needs to do physically to get it done. Peel getting it done there on the second chance.
Yeah, he was going to mention Michaela Peel just cuts through the zone perfectly right there. And on the other side, Proskos will go to line of shoot too. Also wanted to mention Olivia McCurdy, another first-year player, checks in here late in this one.
So just a minute 40 left in this one.
Duar comes away with the rebound and gives it up here to Marion Martin. In the corner here, Duar dancing around. Julia Noir, it's an errant pass. Apostolou tried to get to it. And it was out of her range.
Coming into the game for St. Clair, Rofina Acey, Paige McKinley, two first-year players. It'll be McKinley inbounding it here. Humber only has two first-year players. You mentioned Apostolou, the other Olivia McCurdy. She's on the court right now for Humber.
How about the play out of Proskos right there, fighting for that board off the missed shot. Pulls up for three, can't get it to go. As we're in the final minute here of the fourth. And yeah, Humber, you know, it's going to be interesting. A lot of players trending towards the end. You know, Remwan Destiny, still in her third year, has 2 more left to go. Marion Martin will be a 5th-year player next year. Celia Joseph will be a 3rd as Julia Noir pops the 3 late here.
Yeah, look at how the score is finishing up here as we get to the last couple of possessions. Unbelievable stuff, and we'll see if Humber can continue bringing this heat into the postseason. And no quit in the Saints number 1, Ava Proskos. Another excellent drive to the hoop.
Yeah, she's really turned it on here of late. She's 4 of 6 from the free throw line. We've got 4 of 7. And the shots, the field goals, you know, weren't going her way early on. She's 2 of 11 on the night, but I'm pretty sure at one point she was 0 of 6. So she's turned it around here. Martin, high off the glass, and she finds it.
Shot clock turned off, and might be seeing the last possession here.
Proskos thought about it, and she's going to drive instead to the lane. High off the window, doesn't go. Out of bounds, it's still going to be Saints ball.
Well, an impressive outing for the home team.
And that'll do it. 85-39. The Humber Hawks and the St. Clair Saints, their toughest loss of the season. The defense was just impenetrable tonight.
It was quite the factor in this one, no question. Humber's defense early on was fully dialed in. And you add to that just some of the depth that Humber has and players that can contribute offensively. And you had a recipe for a big win and kind of heating things up here as we wrap up game 1 of our doubleheader here. An outstanding matchup of 2 top teams in the nation. The St. Clair Saints men's team and Humber's men's team coming up shortly here, buddy.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss it. I'm going to coin it right now. Game of the year is about to happen.
Century.
Two top teams in the West, like you said. Let's tee it up a little bit more as we wait for the player of the game.
Yeah.
Two top teams in the West Division in the OCAA. Two top 10 teams in all of Canada will fight for the #1 spot in the OCAA West Division. Humber, St. Clair, in just about an hour's time. Don't go anywhere. More OCAA hoops coming your way.